Let's do it.
Can we run this with a drone or something?
Well, yeah, that would be super. Now, depending on how much you have to be with your teeter, will determine what you can do up here.
And depending on the puppy, what head he's got on.
Right.
Will depend. Yeah.
And if you know there is no chance in hell, you got zero chance of making this happen, then break it apart. This is training. I mean, when I design these courses for the topic, I present a training progression. Because I don't know who's gonna show up. And just because you don't do the whole course, you are not forfeiting your chance at a prize today. I didn't bring any Easter eggs. I almost did, and I forgot. So if you know a zero chance, break it apart. Put him on a stay. Lead out, you know. It's for training today. But if you have half a chance, then try it.
I'm fine.
This part isn't the issue, it's getting around, that way, into that little phone.
Mm-hmm. So what are some of your ideas of how you're gonna make this happen? No, you cannot use being a handler, step across this obstacle, you will get faulted. You can't jump the double.
I'll fall down.
Well, I was at tryouts and I jumped a jump. I was so bad, wrong, messed up. I said, I don't even care. It was 12 inches. I just jumped the jump to get where I wanted to go. You know you can't do that. It's like I just did anyway. I was already eliminated. What are we gonna do? Take away my birthday? Okay.
My time to practice.
That's right. Questions, guys? Comments? Ideas you want to share? Okay, so be specific. What do you want to say?
I wanna know how to get them here. and-
What skills do you have? Do you have independent weaves? Do you have a turn away on the flat?
The weaves are getting better all the time, I have done front and rear cross.
What?
Yeah, it is a tough one.
No, that's come out.
Yeah. So do you have a rear cross on the flat, turn away from you?
I don't think that I can get him out of that tunnel here.
Without going into the tunnel.
I'm not even talking about rear cross in the
Without
weaves. I'm
going
talking
into
about a
yellow
rear
tunnel.
cross on the flat. On the flat means no obstacles. Sorry, porcelain language. Rears, it's ugly head. How it rears its head, that's funny. Okay, so if the dog comes out looking at you, hey mom, what are we doing? If I can turn them away from me, and they'll target the weave poles, that would be a way you can handle it. A way. And then, because it goes back over here, depending on what skills you
I
have.
am, I'm gonna try to get up there and do a lap turn.
Stay on that side.
Turn. I know.
Okay, I never thought about doing that, stand on this side before.
But,
I
good,
don't want
It's
to-
a way.
all right, and of course, I'm gonna be saying weave.
Yes.
But also like you maybe use my thread alarm or do like a lap turn and weave. Like,
How is that different than what I just did?
I didn't see you.
Oh,
do
okay.
alarm
But I
stuff.
mean, you're turning the dog away from you
Yeah,
to
I'm
find
to
the
turn,
weave.
to
And
help
there's no
him.
obstacle
Yeah,
involved
to
when you
help
turn away.
turn him to the weave,
Mhm.
when I'm running up here and I'm going weave, like that.
If you're calling him to you before you flip him back, I wouldn't say weaves until you have him on you. So it's one or two things. You
I
can,
may not need to call him.
right. And that's what you gotta decide. What is my risk calculus here?
Yeah.
Will he target the weaves in the tunnel? And I just say freaking weaves and he finds it.
Well,
Or do I need to pull him and then give him the weaves back? You know, and that's part of decide, trying to figure out what's your best shot. What round is it? Is it challengers? You have to win and, you're running first. You don't know if everybody faulted here or not. Those are the sorts of risk calculus you gotta take into account.
Well, and I think if I'm running up this side, he's gonna know I'm there, so I shouldn't have to pull him.
Okay, so you're
Right?
saying, come out here, stand here, send them in, go down the line into the tunnel.
I'm saying if the dog comes out of the tunnel
Yep.
and they're looking back at me,
Yeah.
now I have to turn them to get them to the weeds.
Right.
Because they're not targeting the weeds. I could say weeds all day long and they'd be like, what? What? I mean, I wish that they would say, oh, hang on, let me go find them. They're not going to. So if the dog comes out of that tunnel, which a lot of them have that tendency to look for the handler when they come out of tunnels, then I know I've got to turn their focus away from me to find the next thing. That's different than if I say, okay, I know my dog, if he sees that call for this tunnel, my dog so amazing. Get your wave, 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 and I don't have to turn it at all. I just start calling waves while they're in the tunnel, and I know that they'll find it.
And how about stay?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Well, yeah, just know that TikTok, someone who doesn't have to make their dog wait.
I want that too.
Well, and that's the thing.
You ready, baby? Okay.
Well, and you can break it apart and reward it. You know, you could break it apart and reward it for sure. I mean, for sure. But I think that you are not allowed to stop your dog on course without getting faulted.
In AKC or?
No, ISC, international.
Oh, AKC, I think you have to be
You have to have been
on
messed
this
up.
half of the,
Well, don't you have to be messed up for them to call it regaining control or something?
I don't think so. I think you can stop them within the first third before the jump or whatever.
Right,
You can stop them and then do that.
right. And I don't.
It's ugly, but hey.
Well, yeah, but this is the difference between the different games. One's all about the qualifier, the other one's all about the win. And it isn't a value judgment, it's just the difference in how the game's played, what the goal is.
Dudley, instead of the stop or stay, one of the things I've used on occasion too is about turn, which it's circle me
Right,
clockwise.
right,
And so it lets me get a couple steps ahead and it slows her,
right,
but doesn't stop her.
right, so then
So
maybe you,
that'd be about the cue, not the speed.
Sure.
Because we just lost 2 seconds.
right, yeah, and then it just depends on what are you playing for today.
Yeah.
You know, and that really is part of being a smart competitor, is what is my risk tolerance for this run? What is this run about? This is hard, no joke. But this is what really, I think, is one of the biggest differences between ISC and Master, is the kind of questions they won't ask you on weekends. They'll ask you some crazy shit questions on weekends. I know the first time I went there, I was just like, dang, I need to get home and practice. We do not know how to do this. Poor little sweetie. Ah, it was so funny. My eyes were just popping in my head. Whoa. All right, questions? Whether you go in to help find the total of 11 or stay out. You know, there's just all kinds of ways. The handling can be all kinds of stuff. If you're trying to pick, say you have several options. Yay for you, one. Great. But you're trying to pick handling. I always go with what is the simplest handling that gets the job done and puts me where I need to be next. You know, there's so many different handling choices now. There's so much more handling now. And it's pretty and it's great, but some of it starts to get kind of complicated. And I don't want to pick complicated unless it really is paying me back a lot, because there's more pieces that could go wrong. Agility's not hard. What makes it hard is it's really fast and you're supposed to get it right the first time. There is a way better shot of that happening for me if I can keep my language pretty darn simple. So, nothing against fancy moves, but you know, just think about it.
Right.
Questions? I'm moving on. And I mean, break this apart as much as you want. Yeah, of course. Then 12, 13 is dog walk. Which way you gonna turn? Yes. Left I like, right? I don't like. No, it's a really bad approach to the dog walk. No, but I need to do the calculus, it might win. So the best, fastest and safest approach to anything that isn't a jump.
Let me get your poll.
I know, I like this. This was so good yesterday. This was so
This
good.
is eye-opening.
All right, put
All right.
this eye-opening
This-
experience on here.
It's not,
Get it right.
it's not striking anymore. This is,
poll.
it's a visual aid, okay? So all of you are familiar with a refusal plan. This doesn't mean the judge is saying you rock. Yeah, you like that? That was awesome. Okay, so no, here's your geometry for today. You take and bisect that perpendicularly, so you get a 90-degree angle. You with me? Yes. And then you spin your 90-degree angle, so half of it is on either side. This shape, this is what judges refer to as a cone of approach. Within this 90-degree angle is the fastest and happily safest approach to anything that is not a jump. The dog has to change their body the least, which means it's safer and faster if they approach anything that is not a jump within this 90-degree range. So when I'm trying to decide how much turn I need, I will come stand here, find my cone, and look backwards. And it is really interesting to me, even having done this now for years, still to this day, it is usually a lot less turn than it looks going forward. And I don't know, maybe I'm dyslexic, I don't know. But you only want as much turn as you need, because remember, turns take collection takes time. So it's not intelligent to really shorten that turn if it doesn't, one, either cut off a lot of distance, or two, help you get more in this safe, fast cone. Really having a super, super tight turn there doesn't, I can also get within this safe cone of approach with a more gentle turn. And the gentle turn's gonna be faster. It sort of lets you know how much turn do you need. So did you walk the distance?
I am right now, so.
Okay, sorry.
But the line is not good.
No. And this may be shorter, but I have to tighten the turn there, and I have to tighten
It's a
here.
harder approach.
Probably 16 and a half to 13
Feet or what?
strides,
How long is your stride?
about 2 and a half.
So 2 times 3 is 6. So this is my cutoff. For large dogs, large striding dogs, anything, any difference in distance that's 10 feet or less is not enough to matter. For medium striding sized dogs, anything that's about 6 feet or less, difference in distance is a wash. It's not enough to make a difference. For your teeny-tiny itty-bitties, it drops to about 4 feet, and that is because distance is proportionate to stride length.
Okay, so it'd be about 10 feet difference, because I had a 4 and a half foot, 3 and a half. So 3 and a half times 2 and a
I
half.
thought she said 2.5 feet.
3 and a half times 2 and a half.
3.5 differences times 2.5 foot stride.
Okay.
So then I'd have to pull out my math. So I'm just rounding down because the half is hard for me.
10-ish.
10-ish. So if you have a border collie, or not even a border collie, if you have a large striding dog, then you know that difference in distance, which is a second point of consideration, is a tie. You know that the dog is coming at this jump almost perpendicular, right? It's almost the same amount of turn either way. So it's almost the same amount of circle versus slice either way. You have another tie. Where the big game changer is the approach to the dog walk. Then you're gonna be a lot faster coming from the cyclist home.
For a big dog, it's a lot longer this way.
Well, a part of it too depends on, you have to walk the most excellent path going both directions. But you have to do that for your dog.
For my dog, it's longer to go this way.
Well, then that for sure is never, ever, ever, ever going to.
Right.
But this is a good way to sort of decide one degree of turn. And then using this turn method to decide the direction of turn. But making this cone and looking backwards, that was a game changer for me once I figured it out. Only took me like 20
Very
years.
enlightening. Very enlightening. Isn't it cool? Yeah.
Yeah. So questions about that? Does this make sense? And this is just a way of how to look at it. It doesn't mean you have to do any of what I say. It's just stuff you think about.
So back to the math,
Uh-huh.
we determined somewhere in there that it's about 6 feet of difference going that way.
Chris said 10. Sally said it was longer for her dog to go that way. You have to say all the dogs are different. So that's the kind of way you have to, when I say you have to walk it for every dog you run that day, because their strides are going to be different.
So with a corgi who's short, but long body, the 6, it feels to me like going that way is gonna be the more expedient way, cause she can go at extension. Am I thinking about that right? Plus after this difficult dog walk entry, it's kind of the break point for me.
I would pick going left for your dog.
Okay, okay, that's what I was
Mm-hmm.
thinking. I was trying
The
to-
6 feet, and she's fast, but I would take that long body into consideration. And I'm really careful about approaches to narrow things.
Yeah.
You know, seesaws and dog walks. And yeah, I wanna win just as much as the next guy, but if I want a fast dog walk, if I load them from an angle like this, I ain't getting enough fast dog walk.
No.
Yeah,
My dog, I already know,
we go bounce, tumble,
right here.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's different dogs, you know, and they all learn different things and et cetera, et cetera. None of this is meant to be a value judgment. It is only meant to be a little like window into a way of how to think about this stuff. All right. Are there any more questions here? I'm just moving on.
Quick question?
Yeah.
The ability to handle a wrap to the left,
Yes.
the handler might need to go in farther. So
Depends on
now,
what your dog knows.
so,
I mean, that'll be totally dependent on what skills the dog brings to the
Right.
table.
yeah, so if I had to go in farther and she wraps, now she's at the dog walk and I'm about here.
Mm-hmm.
Versus if I wrap this way, distance handling, I'm about here when she hits the dog walk. So
I
is
get
that a
your point.
factor to consider too, probably?
It's a factor to consider when it depends on what happens next and what skills do you have that are more or less independent. Where do you need to be the most to help?
Yeah.
And, you know, and that is a real question. That is a reality, no joke about it. Because if you get win this part, just to go off course down there,
Sure.
but then, you know, freaking somebody from Lithuania has got that and that.
Right.
Especially if you're going,
Yeah.
That's just the way it is, but yeah, you know for a fact she's not gonna hit if I'm not down there. You might have to concede something on approach to put you at a better spot for making this happen. Mhm.
And Lithuania might be.
Alright, so, 15, 16, who has a running dog walk here?
I've trained it, but I've gone back and forth for a while.
Okay.
But God knows what will happen.
So, yeah, we'll see. So if you have a running dog walk, you will eventually also need a way to turn them when the target isn't straight ahead. Do you want, if you have a running dog walk and you have ways to turn your dog, would you want to turn them off this dog walk? Good job, you guys. That was almost like a trick question. Good job. No, you wouldn't. You want them to come off hot and long, because the longer they come off, by the time they come back to this jump, boom. They are set for the next one. When you have consecutive turns in the same direction, none of them need to be that tight, because you're making an arc. It's the S's that something needs to be tight. Questions about how to handle this? Yes. Okay. What is it?
What would be the best size to be on, so.
Depends, that totally depends on the thing. It's like, what do you need to do to support your dog walk? What did you need to do up there? I mean, it's not a bullshit answer. It really depends on the dog. Now, I can tell you with my guys, what I would do, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's right for you. I've been working really hard to get that certain way flip. So I would hopefully be, I'd be about, right here, as they were over that apex, getting ready to go down the down ramp. So mine would be go, chop it, and then as they landed, I would do this. I do whatever, the surf line, is that what that's called? That's what I was surfing. But that's because I would be, because they're so fast off the dog walk, I'd be here when they're jumping that. So once they're now jumping that, if I kept running that way, I wouldn't be showing them what's next. They'd be predicting the teeter. So this is one where they're fast, I'm slow. How can train, instead of having that go like this, chomp, 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 how can I use that, plus the fact mine are really, default to obstacle focus, and if you want distance, that's what you want. I know they'll find that jump. I need to make sure they find this one. This is one that they can't see. So I'm not gonna run in there and also block it. Run in there being go to the landing side of that likely jump, is what I mean by running there. So that would be some reasons why I would choose to do the handling that I showed. The point of putting them on this left hand is to take the incorrect side of this jump out of play. If I keep them on this hand, then that makes it look like I want them to jump towards the 60. That's why I would have stepped across there. Something else that I want to share with you guys, because I think this is really important. 2022 is my year to get better. That is what I am going to try to do. I've had some really good luck in November or whenever it was, US Open. How long dog I don't practice with. Went and won a national championship. Ooh, I am so good. Yeah, then a week or 2 weeks later, I went to the Yale tryouts and I sucked. I mean, I did not qualify a single run. I was like, you're great, you suck. So instead of getting demotivated by it, I was happy about it because I've been cruising a little bit, and I think after COVID, maybe more than just me have been cruising a little bit, because we don't want extra stress in our life, we want to do stuff that feels good, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the point of the story is, I want to get better, and one of the big ways to get better, because once you're to this level, you practice your mechanics, you having ideas about front cross and rear cross and all that mess. The way to get better is not to get perfect handling. The way to get better is to get your mind game better. And no, people don't talk about that enough. You need to get mentally sharper. If you heard this question yesterday, don't answer it today. I've been doing this over 25 years, and I've had pretty good success. I've been lucky. How many perfect runs do you think I've had? Perfect.
Perfect in your opinion or perfect in the judge's opinion?
Perfect in my
Because I
opinion.
think you're definitely.
0.
I've never had perfect runs.
So you're really hard on yourself.
No, no, I've had some really, really good stuff, but you can't control for everything. Shit happens. They slip, there's a bang, you slip. I mean, stuff happens and you cannot be perfect. And the more you try to be perfect, the more your brain then short circuits when things don't go according to the plan. You need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So what I do is I think a lot about the handling when I do the course walk. The moment I get out there with the dog, I do not think about handling at all. Whatever happens, happens. I am connected to the dog, so I'm on time. It is better to do shitty handling on time than perfect handling late. True fact. So, I think that's where the biggest area for improvement lies for all of us. And once you get to this level, first of all, you have to know what is a front cross, how do I do that? I mean, that's important. But you're here to this morning, you passed that now. I think it's getting our brain sharper. That's my opinion. And you gotta get your situational awareness better and your response time better. And not, was my handling wrong? It doesn't matter. Were you mentally available? Were you able to shift gears? That's more important. Anyway, I just want to throw that out there. That's what I'm looking at. Other questions?
Yeah, my dog has no comment.
That's a statement.
Could you just walk your line again for that?
Yeah.
Would you mind doing that? What you did again, just a repeat?
No, I don't mind. So this would be what my plan would be. Now, whether or not it happened, this is what I would try to do. I would have flipped it back to the tunnel after the weed, so I would have been on this side of the weeds when they come out of that tube. This, I would turn away. So they're going towards the wall. Run. Jump it, and then the energy down to let another return. Jump it.
Line.
Yep.
Line.
And then, see my feet? How I don't keep going this way. If I keep going this way, they're going to read this as a rear cross. And watch your toes. don't just say, oh my God, I'm doing it, time. Oh, shit, golf course time. Really? Because, you know, it's the end of the course, you're tired, you've like survived all this other stuff. Oh my God, it's just a tunnel. My dog loves tunnels, I'm gonna do it.
Make sure you work every, all